was so weird. Aaron here. Also, you'll see I have a little pet. Isn't he cute? I know it's kind of like cheesy pants, but I think he's fun. If you say hello to him, he'll say hello and your username. So that's kind of fun. Um, Anyways, yeah, so today is continuing. Actually, it's going to be the last of the Copperplate majuscules today. We're doing Q through Z, so that's cool. And I'll get started on that right away since that was like such a weird intro. Oh my goodness, I'm so sorry. So unprofessional. Completely unprofessional. That's okay. We'll get on like normal. Not a big deal. It's another bourgeois day today as well, which is great. So normally I try not to stream like very quickly, but today I think I'm going to try and zoom through it and try to not do a 2-hour one to do the last of the strokes. Better? Mic being better? Hopefully better. I turned up the volume on it. Yay! Okay, good. Also, say hello to my little gingerbread man. Just say hi. He should say hi, Kravok, if you can. Fingers crossed. He said hi to me before. Oh no, he didn't do it. That's okay. He'll just hang out down there, I guess. Does it work if I do it? See? It says hi, Nielsen letters. Oh, maybe it's because you put an exclamation point. That's why. That's okay, though. But yeah, I'm going to try and zoom through the stream because it is delightful outside. So I'd like to be able to get some sun. Cool. So I'll switch back to this guy where I have my papers ready to go. And I will do a little zoom in so you see my lines. I won't do the warm-ups today, so we'll see how good my writing is. It might not be very good. We'll see. So I'll use this guy and my regular old pen holder and a Hunt 101 nib, in case anyone is wondering, with some Higgins Eternal ink and some dirty water. How fun. So today I haven't done any calligraphy, so like I said, I'm taking a risk not doing warm-ups right now. Anyways, but if it sucks though, then you'll know why you should do your warm-ups, and you should listen. Yeah, what's the saying? Do as I say, not as I do. Always do warm-ups first. Before doing any calligraphy, you should always do it. Also, you know, if you can see in my background, look, I have flowers. So pretty. They were, I had made something for my neighbor. He had written a song, and so he didn't ask me to. I just was like, oh, this would be nice if I could make this for him. So he written a song. He sent me the lyrics to read. And I thought they were delightful. So I was like, I'm gonna write these down. So I wrote them, and I gave them to him, and he liked them so much he sent flowers. It's just very funny because he lives right below me, so it's like getting flowers delivered from like a flower delivery service for like a guy who like lives below is very funny. So I will go through and just change the angle of this guy just a scooch. There we go. So you don't see, or so you do see me properly. I'm going to go through A through P, just kind of fast, just so you guys see. Also, I'm going to see if I really should do some warm-up, so this will be my little testy test for myself. I will zoom this a little bit more and go right here. All right, cool. Let's see how. I'm just going to write majuscules. So then when I add this paper to Discord, it has a title. Just I'm going to put this on this side. A little easier maybe to reach. So it's not too bad. All right, I feel confident enough. I'll at least go through A through P, and then we'll do a little test. That will be our little test. So A. So we have the A with their shade on both, and then I'll do the A where there's shade just on one side. So essentially one starts from the top and the other one starts from the bottom. And then we have our B. That one looks kind of funny. Hold on, let me try that one again. There we go, that one's better. Because I went actually properly to the the waistline. We have our C, which is C curve, and then down the 55. D. E. F. And I'll do it both directions as well. F. And then G. I think if you go and look in my Discord as well, I'm pretty sure there's, from the majuscules from the first lesson and from the second lesson, I'm 99% sure I uploaded those as well. So you do have access to see my exemplars in my Discord. You just have to go and look. They're obviously not going to be perfect because I do them live. So, you know, I if I was going to do this maybe like, you know, very slowly, not on stream, not while I'm talking, they'd probably be like a bit better quality, but at least you'll see like what they look like instead of, you know, just staring at like a screen or something. You can have them right in front of you. Whenever I'm doing things like this too, I am always like, is this in the right order? It reminds me that I don't remember my alphabet very well. I, J, K, and I have to get to P. So L, oh yes, of course. I'm streaming. I gotta put my best nib pen holder forward. LM. How are you today, Sleep Wizard? Did you get good sleep? How many times do you hear that joke, by the way, if you're the sleep wizard? And oh, or this one is just like that, and P. That's where we stopped. Sorry, I have my notes in front of me for when we stopped. I have them in the front, so because otherwise I was like, what? So P like this, or like that. So as the little refresher, this is what we went over for the last couple ones. And then today we are finishing the majuscules. Oh, yay, I am unique. I'm glad to hear you're doing well. All right, so we'll go with the Q. So the Q, as you see here, this is an O. And a Q is very similar to the O. So essentially we're going to be doing a C curve, which switches direction and then comes back up again. So C curve, up, down, and up. And when we're pulling down, we're going to be pressing a little bit here. So we're going to get the weight. And then this is where it can get a little like, oh, you can do that. You can absolutely do that. It is a tool. You can manipulate it however you'd like. I turn it sideways. So when you turn it sideways, then you pull and then you press and pull away, you get that nice little tail down there. So it's a Q. This is a very modern Q because that's what people read it as a Q. The traditional Q does not look like this. It looks like a gigantic number 2. Let me see. I will show you what a Q looks like. So Q traditionally in calligraphy looks like that. No one writes it like that anymore, so it's why I don't do it. Especially because I live in Quebec, so a Q is all over the place. Like whenever I write an address on an envelope, it's like QUEBEC. So I'm worried the postman won't know where like a letter is supposed to be being sent. So yeah, I write it like this. I actually don't even. Let me try the traditional one. I don't think I'm trying to think if I've ever actually done it. Oh, we'll try. Yeah. Doesn't that look just like a gigantic number 2? It's not for me. Not for me. Oh. Sorry, my phone is buzzing, so I'll just turn that on. There we go, on silent, because I have my chat on my phone in front. All right. So yeah, this one for me is the much more legible Q. It's much more like this is how we write our Qs now, more or less. But yeah, that's how I do it. You can also actually probably do it if you didn't want to add the weight down there. You can also do a C, and then down, and then back up again. And you could do it without any weight and just keep it hairline. I like having a little weight on the bottom though. So then we have our letter R, which is that line of universal beauty. So don't forget, the line of universal beauty is mostly straight on the 55 with a little line here and a little line here, which gives it the illusion that it's like an SE curve in the middle. So we would go a little curve, then press straight, and then press away. Me going slow does not help. There we go. That one's better. The one that I uploaded into the Discord from last week, you'll see that I did like a bunch of lines of universal beauty. There's only maybe like 2 that are good. So QR. So if you do your line of universal beauty, you come down and then you would come back up. You do a little terminal dot. That's what the little dots are called. They're called little terminal dot because that's where the line terminates. And then you do an overturn. So I'm going to be pressing, going up, away. And this is kind of like the B, which is here. Except instead of turning back in on itself, it's going to go away and like a little compound curve. That's a bit sideways, but that shape there. I also overshot my line a little bit. Shouldn't do that, so let me try that one again. There we go. Line of universal beauty, overturn into kind of like what the B was, and then coming up, pressing down and going away. There's also another way I like to do the R, which can sometimes be a little simpler for people who are just beginning, just because this requires a lot of pen manipulation and understanding. Another one that I like to do is when you're starting with the C curve, you're coming down, up, and then you're coming over and around, and then you're doing away again. This is a bit more free-flowing. It's a bit more modern. It's a little bit less stiff. I find this one a bit stiff sometimes. This one can be a bit more fun, depending on what you're trying to write. I'm just going to... There we go. So yeah, there's our R. We have our letter S that's going to be coming in. So the S can also be done a few ways. You can kind of make it a bit more fancy if you want. The S lends itself well to that because it's so swoopy. So we're having the C curve, up, line of universal beauty, and then we're coming up in a terminal dot. So that one was not on that 55. There we go. That's a bit more like it. Ignore this guy. That one's not correct. So hanging out alone, this does not look like an S. But if you add the words to it, let's say write sad. All of a sudden, you can kind of read it as an S. If you don't like that one, you can always go and do something like this. A little curvy curve, a little loop-the-loop. Because this is definitely easier to read. As an S, right? Or you can go even more fancy. You kind of go and you go from the bottom and you come up. This I like as well, but it kind of reminds me like is it a treble clef? A little bit from the beginning of music. So it just depends on what your look is, what your vibe is. Like let's say you're doing something for a wedding, this one might be more appropriate. It's a bit more like romantic than maybe this one, which is a bit more static. So it just depends. Then we have our letter T, which is line of universal beauty. Oops, line of universal beauty. Here, ignore this guy. Overturn, up, and we're pushing away. So it's essentially your letter F without the crossbar right up there. it's like this. And you can do that, this top part here, either direction. So I went down, push, and then pushing away from myself. You can also start this from the right and move down to the left. So it just adds weight in a different section, because here you're only having weight on this side and you're moving away, so there shouldn't be any pressure, whereas this one, the weight is here pulling up and then pressing down and then towards itself. So because you're pressing, because you're going down here, there's going to be a shade. And then here we have our line of universal beauty. There we go. Let's do our letter U. Sorry, I'm just adjusting my other camera so you can see what my hand is doing. So for the U, it's gonna start with an overturn, which is gonna be here. So it's gonna be overturn, up, but then we're gonna go down and then up again. So it's kind of like a G a little bit with this part, because we're gonna go here and then we're gonna kind of do a line of universal beauty and then bring it back up to itself. Oh no, wait, T-U. I was going and doing a Y. Oh my God. Hi, I need more coffee today. Oh, this is a Y, so this is good, but T-U. This is, I'm telling you, this is what happens. Like, I forget what the order of the alphabet is in. There we go. It's because the start of this is this, or like the same. I just went the wrong direction. So yeah, so overturn. Coming up, back down again, and then away, and then we're pressing and going this way. You can have this squared off if you'd like, or you can have it as a point. I kind of like it as a point for the U, just because it makes it feel a bit lighter. I find it when it's a sharp square up here, it's a bit off, but that's a visual thing on my end. As long as you can read it as a U, I'm gonna be a happy camper. And then we have our V. So the V is very similar to the M and the N because it has a lot of the same components. So this is a V. Sorry, I did it while I wasn't talking, because as I'm doing it, I have to think. So the V is kind of interesting because you do have a line on the 55 degree, but it's not the one you're going to think, because otherwise it looks like it's falling over. The first line is almost straight up and down, and then as you're pushing away, this is the one that's on the 55, and then you can do a little fluff on the side. So when I'm doing it, I kind of do it in one motion, which is why it's hard for me to talk while I'm doing it, but I'm going down and then I'm pushing away, and I'm using the motion of the pen, and I'm kind of like breathing through it. And so this one wasn't very good, but you can do like a little compound curve to get into that. You can do an overturn this way. I usually do it at the end, just because it's a bit easier for me to do it that way. But I like going from the top down and then going away and then adding whatever flourish on the left part of the V after it's done, versus like doing it and then going and then going. I find it's a bit too long. Actually, I'm gonna just put a little pin there. Also, by the way, look at the shiny nails. Aren't they fun? I'm not usually, well, I used to be really big into nail polish, just as a random tangent, but then I stopped because of my bird, who is on my shirt, actually, oddly enough. But he hated them when we first got them, but now he doesn't care. So now I'm just like, ooh, I get to go back into my fun, fancy things. So my nails are very sparkly today because it's almost spring. Or actually, is it spring? I think spring was yesterday, actually. Was it? I don't know. Spring was recent. So I'm celebrating by having shiny nails. All right, back to calligraphy. All right, we're going to go and do W. So the W is essentially, it's a double V instead of a double U. So I'm just going to not talk for a second because for me it's always easier if I'm just not talking and I just do it all in one shot. There we go. So it's essentially two V's stuck together. So let me do that one more time so you can see what I'm doing. Actually, let me put the camera. Can you see it from? Yeah, okay, you can see from there. Cool. Yeah, you can definitely see. Awesome. It's almost like a swinging motion for me. That I find it easier that way. Because then I feel like I'm at least keeping in the same rhythm. I find the W is very much like a rhythmic kind of letter. All right, so then we have our X. So the X is essentially the bigger version of the minuscule. So you have two versions. So you have one which is an overturn, and you're coming down and going backwards. So oddly enough, this is, I think, the only script in which, the only letter in the script that when you're coming back and going over, you're not pressing on this first stroke. The reason is because we're going to go here, and then on this one we're going to press down. And if both ones are heavy, it's going to be just a big blob of ink right in the middle. So let me do that again. Up, over, and then back up again. This one was better than this one because this one crossed over too much. So you should really only be touching just in the center part of the line. And where both lines are meeting should be at 55 degrees down the center here. So I already did a Y, but I'm going to do it again because I'm dumb and I did it before instead of the U. So it's essentially the same beginning as U. Overturn, coming down with the weight, coming up and away. And then like the G, we're coming up this way. So, yes, it's a Y. And then with the Z, there's a couple of different variations. One of them, which ones did I put on my thing? Sorry for the shaking camera. I'll just do two instead of the three. So I'm coming up from over here, down, down, and then up. So what's happening here is this is like an oval that I'm making that should, the center axis should be on 55 degrees. And I'm going midway between the X height where I'm stopping. I'm coming back around, pulling down, and this is essentially the descender loop, and then coming back up again. So I'll do that one more time. Essentially, it's the same as a minuscule Z. It's just on a larger scale. So that's one of them. And then the other one, I don't think it's traditional at all. It's just sometimes it reads easier as a Z. So we're starting here, we're going across, we're coming down, and we're coming back over again. So essentially, it doesn't really follow any of the rules, which is why I'm pretty sure I picked this up from somewhere. I just use it sometimes, like I said, if legibility is a thing. Um, if someone wants me to do one that doesn't look like this, this is the other option that I give. Because like I said, it doesn't really follow any of the rules. It kind of can look a little bit out of place, but it's a bit easier to do because it's more standard for what we're used to seeing and what we're used to writing. So we're gonna here over, bring it down as you're pressing, and then we're going back over again along the line. Generally speaking, I keep this top part maybe about half of the total size of the bottom one. So the bottom should be wider than the top up here. And there we go. We have now gone through A through Z. Very exciting. So what I was going to do after this is do an abécédaire. I don't know what these are called in English. I always use abécédaire as my word. Even though I am English, I am Anglophone. There are certain times when French is the only word that I know of a thing, and I only know these as abécédaires. Essentially when you do the alphabet. So I was going to do A through Z, majuscules and minuscules all in a row. And if anyone has questions while I do this, you can have at her. Also, if you're watching me do this, it's kind of an interesting way as well to see how the letters are connected, or how I connect letters. This A did not go up high enough. Oh, I will zoom in just a scooch more. It's a bit too far. There we go. And put a little accent. So cute. also easy for me to remember the order of the alphabet if I go quicker without pausing. I'm an adult, I swear. You might be hearing my bird as well in the background. He is for sure in his cage and is unhappy the fact that he's in his cage. It's okay. He's with us today because he's on my shirt. He's with us in spirit. I cracked that. I did that super fast. Like I said, I'm motivated today to be quick because it is like 21 degrees and I want to go for a walk. But yeah, I think we'll end the stream like that with a completed alphabet, which means of my teaching stuff, of the things that I have like actively planned, I'm mostly done. I had one more planned for next week to kind of go through some other little things, but the actual like alphabet building of the letter stuff and like how to connect them, that is done now, which is cool. But I think next Thursday what I'll do, I might go through some different types of mediums that you can use with some examples or maybe different tools, and what that does to what the alphabet looks like. You know, maybe going through some of that, because I have some fun pens in my giant pile. Actually, I'll just, I'm a little paranoid. Let me just put the lid back on my ink. There we go. So like I have a bunch of different types of tools that all make different lines. So maybe I don't know, I'll think about it and I'll figure it out, but maybe I'll do something along this line of using different tools like ruling pens or folded pens and play around with some of the shapes that these can bring, even if we're just doing the same forms, the same letter forms, the same lines, which is kind of fun to experiment too. So, but I'll think on it, and then I will try to remember to update my Discord with a bit more info. So from there, I'll switch to just my face. I want to thank you for coming by and hanging out with me. I'm really sorry for the technical difficulties at the beginning of the stream. Like, I'm not sure exactly what happened. I did a test before the stream started and everything was fine. I turned it on and then everything was wrong. So if you stuck around, I appreciate it. You know, stay safe. Enjoy your weekend, because it's Thursday. It's almost Friday, which means it's almost the weekend, guys, which is super fun. And yeah, I'll be back on Monday, continuing with my lettering lyrics series. I'll be working on song number 3 from Paramore's first album. I don't remember what song that is, but I'll be here doing that if you want to come by and say hello. And yeah, till then, see you Monday. Bye.